I'm trying not to be like that person, but I'm getting kind of tired of all the comments about service dog programs are too expensive, service dog programs aren't accessible, nobody can afford that. You guys, you are not doing your research, obviously. Like this comment, not everyone can afford that. Before you pull, though, you spend the same, if not more, for owner training, which typically you probably will, and there's a lot of factors for that, especially if the dog that you train doesn't work out and then you've wasted money. Most owner trainers are spending that money over time, okay? Not everyone can afford to spend anywhere from $5 to $50K on a program dog. Where are you getting your numbers? And a lot of programs won't accept a lot of disabilities. Do your research. Find one that does. For example, I have a very extreme case of PTSD, and I either cannot fulfill the money that they require, or they only train PTSD service dogs for veterans. Programs are not accessible to everyone. Before I get into pricing, there actually is a very specific service dog program that trains PTSD service dogs for civilians specifically. Do your research. They are there. On another note, if we're okay with spending money over time to train our service dogs, so if as owner trainers it's taking us 2 years to train our service dogs, and over that 2 years we're spending money, why can't you do that when you're on a wait list for 2 years? Because a service dog program, you're going to be on a wait list. If they require you to pay money, which not all of them do, some of them are free. If they require you to pay money, you have 2 years to sit there and pay on it. Or crowdfund and fundraise the funds. What? That's not making sense to me, you guys. There's a program that I'm going to talk about, two that I know of, that I know more about via either myself being associated with them or having a very close friend associated with them. So I have a very close friend that's associated with Canine Companions and has a service dog through Canine Companions. Canine Companions is free. It might be harder to get in. They might have a longer wait list, but they're free, okay? Remember, if you're training your own service dog, you're waiting 2 years regardless, if the dog even finishes training, to have a fully trained service dog, right? And in that 2 years, anything can happen, and that dog may not finish training. So then you have to start over and you've wasted money. So our service dog program, I have until next summer to raise $2,500 or pay it myself. That's not that much, is it? When we stop and think about a wait list and a program trained service dog, $2,500 isn't that much. So what can I do? I can sit here and pay on it until then, but this program also helps with crowdfunding. So if I don't have all the funds, they are going to start helping me try to raise those funds to cover the rest of the dog, right? Does that make sense? It's not impossible. It might be difficult, but it's not impossible. If you were paying over 24 months, you're talking about sending in $100 a month. Cool. That's literally nothing when you're comparing your dog's gear, food, vet treatment, flea medicine, etc. every single month. You're spending more than $100 a month if you're owner training. So paying $100 a month to get a program dog is literally nothing. Either way, whether you owner train or whether you use a program, you're waiting 2 years for a fully trained service dog, period. And the part that's just killing me right now is the fact that everybody is like, oh, it's so inaccessible. Oh, there's no way to get it. You guys are spreading so much misinformation. While, yes, there are some programs out there that might be more expensive or harder to get in, not all of them are like that. And telling everybody, oh, you'll never be able to afford it because they cost too much. Yes, these dogs might be worth $20,000, but the disabled person is not typically paying $20,000, at least not for the service dog programs that care, because they're trying to make it accessible for their disabled customers, right? They want to make sure that those who need them are actually getting them. And let's not forget, anything involving a nonprofit service dog program is tax deductible. And if all of you have time to get on here and post videos, You have time to crowdfund. You have time to say, hey, I've got to raise this much money, yada, 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 by here. And that is not expecting strangers to fully cover the cost of your service dog. Like, if you're expecting other people to cover the full cost, that's a problem. You should be covering as much as you can. And then when you get closer to that end date, if you don't have the full amount covered, that's when you should start trying to crowdfund, right? If y'all have time to post these comments and to make videos, you have the time to crowdfund and raise awareness. Let's stop saying that it's not accessible and that it's not affordable, because it is. I personally think a lot of the people who are going on and on and on about service dog programs being inaccessible are people who did not qualify to have a service dog based on their medical problems. Not that the program didn't train for those disabilities, but that when you sent in your application and you sent in all of your doctor references for your disabilities, you didn't qualify because maybe your doctor said you didn't have a disability, but you still want a service dog. And so it's easier to get away with owner training your own service dog because you didn't apply for the program. And that's just hard, honest truths right there, because yes, there are some of you out there that probably don't need a service dog and that didn't get approved for one, and now you're mad about it because you didn't have the medical conditions that you claim you do. I'm not going to call names or point fingers, but it happens, okay? There are always someone who is going to abuse the system, and I think a lot of this, oh, it's not accessible, nobody can do it, comes from people not being approved via having disabilities that require a service dog. So there's my rant for the day. Enjoy. Have a good day. Goodbye.